finding our comfortable seated position, feeling our sitting bones pressing into our mats. We'll close our eyes, pull the shoulders back and down. Breathe in and out deeply, pressing that diaphragm all the way down, filling the lungs full with air. And then pushing it out. And we'll inhale, lift the hands up to the sky, reaching with the fingers, still lowering the shoulders away from the ears, making ourselves nice and tall. And then exhale, let's just turn to the right, little spinal twist here. Good, and then inhale, unwinding, hands come up high. And then exhaling, twisting to the left. Just a little twist, we're not forcing our body. Good, inhaling, hands come up high to the center. Exhale, let's fold forward, bringing the arms forward, chest lowers down. Can drop the head, just kind of round. Pressing those sitting bones into our mats, lowering the chest a little bit lower. Keeping that chest low, let's walk the hands over to one side, bringing the chest over the knee. And then slowly we'll walk those hands back to the center. One breath here, lengthen on that inhale. Lower the chest on the exhale. And inhaling here and then exhaling, we'll walk those hands over to the other side. Creepy crawling the fingers all the way over. And then slowly we'll come back to the center. And walking those hands backwards, we'll roll our way all the way to the top. Inhale, hands come up high. Exhale, big circles, bring them back behind. Let's open up that chest, lift the heart. Arms are like a big wide hug. Good. Dropping the shoulders, hands come down and then all the way around up to the top. Exhale, back behind us. And then up with that inhale. And exhaling back. Good. Let's bring those arms around. Give ourselves a hug. Fingertips touch the tops of the shoulders. Help them lower down. Open the shoulder blades behind us. Good. And then releasing the hands. We'll place them on the mats. We'll roll over our shins and come onto our tabletop. Fingers are wide underneath of our shoulders. Knees are underneath of our hips, pressing in to all of those digits, pulling those shoulder blades apart, tucking the tail just a little bit so that we can lengthen all along the spine, breathing into the belly. And then exhale, let's round into a cat. Tuck the chin, tuck the tail, lifting our back as high as we can. And then inhale to our cow, lifting the heart, dropping the tummy. Exhaling cat. And inhaling cow. And we'll just move with our breath at our own pace, moving deliberately and with care. Do one more cat and one more cow. And we'll meet together in that tabletop again when we are ready. Good, strong back here, pressing into those hands. Now we're just going to go side to side with our spine. So we're going to take our left shoulder and our left hip and try and bring them around and touch together. And then over to the right side, right shoulder, right hip. And other side. Again, moving with our breath. Do one more to each side. And then we'll find ourselves again back in that tabletop. Good strong tummy. Pressing into those hands. Good. We'll soften the feet behind us, bringing our hips back to our heels. Arms are out in front of us, chest is low into our child's pose. Just one breath here. And then when we inhale, we'll come up to our little plank. Exhale, we'll lower the chest down. Hands are underneath of our shoulders here. As we inhale, we'll scoop the chest forward. And then lift using those back muscles. And then press back into those hands for child's pose. Inhale up to that little plank. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, we scoop and lift. And then press back to our child's pose. Inhaling up. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale, scooping and lifting. And then exhale, pressing back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, we'll come up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift that chest. And then come back to our child's pose. Let's stay here for 2 breaths. Lowering those hips all the way down toward those heels. And now from here, let's tuck those toes underneath of our butts, opening up in the arches, stretching out our toeses. Good. Pressing into our hands right where they are for our child's pose. Pressing into those hands, pressing into our toes. We begin to lift our hips up toward the sky. Lengthen in our arms, in our back. Keeping those knees bent until we have a nice long spine. And then once we get that set, we can begin to lengthen in the legs. We can pedal the feet if we like. Wake up the backs of those legs. And we find our downward facing dog here. Good, let's bend those knees. Lower back down to child's pose. Take a breath. Good. And then again, we'll come up into our downward facing dog, but hopefully it doesn't take us as long to find it as we have worked so hard to get into it again. Good. Good, and now let's inhale, bringing our shoulders forward. We can come into a full plank onto our toes, or we can lower the knees down if we need. Exhale, we're gonna lower that chest back down. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Let's inhale to an upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, pressing back for downward facing dog. Good, one more time. Inhale forward into our version of plank. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale to that little heart opener, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. And now little baby steps, pressing our heels all the way into the ground as we walk forward towards our hands at the top of our mat for a forward fold. Deeply bending those knees, rounding in the spine. Let's roll our way up. Hands come up to the sky. And then here, exhale, little tiny back bend. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, let's bring those knees and thighs together. Big circles with the arms. We'll sit down into our chair. Good. Inhale, we'll come back up. Exhale, little back bend. Inhale up. And then exhale, sitting down into that chair again. We're going to hold chair for just a little bit. Make sure that we're getting our chair as good as we can get it. We're sitting down low in the butt. We're tucking that tail so that our back is flat behind us. We're not sticking our butt out. Just sitting down, flat back, good strong tummy here. Thighs are squeezing together. Arms can be up in front of us here. We can bend the elbows if that's better on our shoulders. We can even bring our hands together at our heart. But what we should be feeling is our tummy begin to press into that very high part of our thigh. Our upper back is opening. I'm talking a lot and we're holding this pose and you're doing a great job. Beautiful. Inhale, coming on up. Good. Exhale, softening the knees, hinging at the hips. Let's fold forward. Inhale, let's bring our hands to our shins or our thighs, looking forward to a flat back again for a half lift. Exhale, we'll fold. We'll step back with that left leg and we'll come into a lunge from here. Hands are on either side of that right foot. Knee is over the right ankle. Sinking those hips down. Lifting the heart. Wiggling our way into it. This is our first lunge of our practice. We need to make sure that we find where we're at today. Good. We'll keep that left hand on the floor. We'll lift up the right for a little twist. Keep sinking those hips down, lengthening that back leg, opening up the shoulders toward the sky. And exhaling back down. Let's step back for a downward facing dog. Inhale, coming forward to our plank. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. Good, let's lift up that right leg. We'll step forward into our lunge. Good, and then from here, we'll bring those hands up high for a high lunge, sinking down into the lunge, lengthening that back leg, tucking that butt, lifting the heart. Good, now let's lower that left heel down. We'll open our hips over to the left for warrior two. Inhale, let's lift that right hand for reverse warrior, keeping that bend in the right knee, lengthen the left. And now let's exhale, side angle. Let's lower that right arm down to the thigh, lift the hand up to the left hand up to the sky, or we can reach it up above our head for extended side angle. Good, inhale, reverse warrior. Good, side angle. Good, now we'll lengthen that right leg. We're sassing the hips back behind us. And we'll move our way into triangle, thinking about lengthening on these inside ribs, stacking the shoulders, lengthening in those inner thighs. Good, and then slowly those hands will come back down to the floor, to our lunge, stepping forward with the left leg into a forward fold, hanging our head. Inhale to a flat back, hands can come to the shins. Exhale, we fold, bending the knees, rolling all the way up. Exhale, little back bend here. Hips go forward, shoulders go back, chests come up high. Inhale up. Exhale, sitting down into that chair. Strong chair here. Inhale, coming on up. Exhale, let's fold forward. Inhale to our flat back. Long legs. Exhale, we fold. Step back with that right leg into our lunge. We'll take a little wiggle break here. Getting ourselves settled into this lunge. Good. Right hand will stay on the floor. Left hand comes up, twisting to the left. And exhaling, hand comes back down. We'll step back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale. We can do cobra or upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, press back for downward facing dog. Good. Let's lift up that left foot, reaching it back behind us. Good. Stepping forward into our lunge here. Finding our balance. Inhale, high lunge. Beautiful. Let's lower that right hip down. Open ourselves up, warrior two. Pulling the shoulders back and down, lifting the heart, sinking down into that lunge. And the thighs are moving away from each other here. Good. Inhale, reverse warrior, lifting that left hand up to the sky, dropping the right. Good. And then lowering down to side angle. That left arm rest on the thigh. Right hand comes up to the sky. Good. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, side angle. Good. From here, let's lengthen that left leg. Shift the hips all the way back by that right heel. Lengthen in those inner ribs for triangle pose. Pressing into our feet. Lifting from our pelvic floor. Stacking the shoulders. Lots of stuff going on here. Nothing we can't handle. And then slowly we'll come back down to that lunge. Hands can find the floor. Good. We'll step forward with that right foot into our forward fold. Hang here. We can even hold our elbows for ragdoll. Sway a couple of bits. And then we'll release those elbows. Let the hands hang. And then we'll inhale to our flat back. Long legs, weight go into our toes here. Good. Exhale, let's fold forward, maybe a little bit deeper. Gently bending those knees, rolling our way up. Good. Exhale, little back bend here. Inhaling high. Now let's bring those arms back behind us for a chest expansion. Pulling the shoulders back, lifting the heart. We can just hold that imaginary ball behind us. Or we can clasp our hands together and begin to pull them down. Lifting the heart, softening the shoulders. Softening those elbows, releasing the hands. Let's inhale those hands up to the sky. Keeping the hands high, let's bring the thighs together, sitting down into the chair. And now let's work on our balancing chair. We can bring both heels up if we would like. Hands can stay up high if we want, or if they feel better here at our heart. Good, and gently lowering those heels down. Sink down into that chair. And then inhale and stand up tall. We'll lift up that right leg. And we'll step it all the way back for a high lunge. Hands are to our hearts here, sinking down into that lunge. Let's take this right elbow and we'll twist it all the way around. See if we can find that left knee or thigh. Pressing into the palms to help open up those shoulders. Keeping that back leg working. Good, beautiful. Slowly we'll come back to the center. Nicely done. Hands find the floor. I'm going to turn around so we can see what we're doing. Hands come to the floor. We're in our lunge. Let's step back with that left foot for plank. And now we'll press all of our weight into that left hand, lifting up the right for side plank. We can stack our feet here, or if we would like, we can lower that inside knee, the left knee, for a modification. Lifting the hips, opening those shoulders. One more breath here. We can do it. Good, and then slowly let's lower that right hand back down, and we'll come all the way back for a downward facing dog. Good, let's inhale forward into our plank again. And then slowly we lower our way down, all the way down to our tummies. Soften the feet behind us if we like. We're just going to bring those elbows underneath of our shoulders, pressing our palms and our forearms into the mat. As we inhale, we scoop our chest forward and then lift it high for Sphinx. Good. Exhale, let's release that chest back down. Take a breath here. Elbows are still underneath of our shoulders. We'll press into those elbows, press into those forearms, tuck the toes underneath, begin to activate the thighs, and lift our hips up for a forearm plank. And now here, keeping that tummy nice and strong, let's just gently bend those knees and just barely touch the mat, and then lengthen. Exhale, touch the mat, and then lengthen. touch. Lengthen. Let's do one more. And lengthen. Beautiful job. Let's help ourselves up onto our hands. Press back, downward facing dog. Looking forward past our fingers, bending those knees. We can step or we can hop to the top of our mat, into our forward fold. Inhale to our flat back. Exhale, we fold. And then inhale, we'll slowly roll our way up to the top. Good. Exhale, little back bend here. Inhale, we come up. Good. Let's do a chest expansion, pulling those shoulders back and down. Open that chest. Let's undo some of that computer sitting and phone time wasting. Good, gently releasing the hands. Inhale, nice and high. Hands can stay up high or they can come down to our hearts, bringing those knees and thighs together, sitting down into our chair. And now we can try our balancing chair if we like by lifting those heels up off of our mats. Lowering those buddies back down. Let's bring those hands to our hearts. Inhale, standing up nice and tall, lifting the left knee up in toward our chest. And now let's step all the way back, nice and long for a high lunge. And now let's do our little twist, taking that left elbow, exhaling, turning all the way around toward that right knee or thigh. Beautifully done. Let's unwind back to our high lunge. And then hands can find the mat. We'll step back to plank. Strong plank here. We'll shift our weight over to this right hand and open up for side plank on this side. Lifting those hips up to the sky, stacking the shoulders, pressing into that hand. Breathing all the way down into our belly. One more breath, we can do it. And then exhale, let's lower that left hand down. Back to downward facing dog. We can pedal it out if we need, give ourselves a wiggle break. Good, inhale forward. Exhale all the way down to our tummies. Good, elbows come underneath of our shoulders. Pressing into those hands or their forearms, coming up for our Sphinx. So not only are we lifting the chest up high, but we're trying to scoop this lower back. So we're trying to take off with those shoulders instead of just folding that low back. Think about pulling that spine forward as we scoop up. And then exhale, release those shoulders down to our mats. And take a breath here. Then when we're ready, we'll come up to our forearm plank. So elbows stay underneath of our shoulders. Nice strong upper body. We'll tuck the toes, activate those thighs. Tuck the tail, begin to lift those hips up off of our mats. Still thinking about that long spine. So we don't want to droop. Good. And now exhale, let's lower those knees down. Inhale them up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Let's do one more. Exhale down. Inhale up. Beautiful job. Help ourselves up to our hands. Press back downward facing dog. We're going to walk those hands forward about halfway to our mat. Open the feet nice and wide. Toes point out to the corners. And then we'll lower ourselves down into our malasana squat. Hands come together at our hearts. Hips are low. Move our neck around. Make sure that we're not holding a lot of tension in there. Breathe it out. Good. Hands can come down to our mats. Can even bring them behind. We'll slowly lower ourselves down to our bottoms. Feet are out in front of us, nice and long. Toes point up to the sky. We can give them a little shake and wiggle. Let's pull those muscles out from underneath of our sitting bones so we can really feel ourselves rooting down into our mats. And then walk those hips back behind us just a little bit. And what that does is we're already encouraging that tilt in the pelvis. Hands can come to our thighs, or we can lift them up on high so that we can reach toward those toes as we fold forward. Feel the connection of our low belly to our upper thigh. Chest is working toward the toes. If we need, we can put a tiny bend in those legs to help keep encouraging that connection with our tummy and our thighs. And then we'll slowly help ourselves up. Good. We'll keep this left leg spread out nice and long, tucking that right foot in toward that left thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Hips are still pointing out in front of us, but the left leg can kind of open up a little bit wider if we would like. Good. And now from here, little twist, we'll just walk our hands around toward the right, much like we did at the very beginning of the practice. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, maybe we deepen a little bit further into that twist. And then gently we'll release, and we'll only unwind as far as this right knee. So we'll stay a tiny bit twisted. We'll lower this left arm down to the inside of the leg, and we'll inhale, lift the right hand, and exhale again, tipping over toward that left leg, stacking the shoulders, opening up in that side body. Good. Inhale, coming on up, bringing those shoulders back to center. Now we'll take this right foot and cross it over the left knee. Good. Hands can come behind our hips here. We'll bend and place that left foot onto our mats. A bit of a figure four stretch here. Think about this right knee moving away from our body. A little rotation in the hip. Nice tall spine. And we can decide how close or how far away this left foot needs to be. We are our own measuring stick here. Good. And then we'll gently release that right leg. Both feet will come down to the mat. Hands are behind our butts, pointing our fingers toward the toes, pulling the chest open. Shoulders are back, pressing into the hands and the feet. Let's come up to a reverse tabletop. Good. Exhale, we'll lower the bum down, barely touch. And then inhale, we'll come back up, really using those glutes, using our core. Exhale, we'll lower down, touch, and then inhale, we'll come up. Good. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Touch, inhale up. Let's hold this reverse tabletop for 2 breaths. Good. Exhale, let's lower our butts down. Find our staff again. Wiggle it out a little bit if we would like. And then we'll keep this right leg open. Move into our Janu Shirshasana on this side. Left foot comes into the thigh. Sitting bones are nice and rooted. Inhale. We'll lift. Exhale. Little twist here. After we've moved around, we might get a little bit better twist than when we started, and that's what we call progress. Good. We'll slowly unwind just so that we are facing this left knee. We'll inhale, hands come up high, and then we'll tilt over to the right, lowering that right arm down to the inside of the leg. Left arm reaches up and over. What we're trying to do, though, is stack the shoulders one on top of the other as we move over toward that right leg. May start to feel some opening in the side body, maybe in the outer hip on that left side. Maybe we can even get it as deep into our low back. Good, and then inhale, let's come on up. Bring it back to the center, and we'll cross this left foot over the right knee. Hands will come back behind us just for stability as we bend that right knee to place the foot on the floor. Moving the left side away from our body to get that rotation in the hips. And then we flex this left foot so that we can protect our knee. Beautiful. And we'll slowly unwind those legs. You can give them a little wiggle if we would like. And then we'll bend those knees. We'll roll up into our little ball and we'll rock back onto our backs. Let's hug those knees tightly into our chest. Tuck the chin. Good. And now let's open the knees wide. We'll place our elbows to the inside and then we'll hold the pinky toe sides of our feet for dead bug. So bringing those shoulders down toward the mat, which will help to bring those feet and knees down too, opening those hips nice and wide. And now think about our tail. We want it to come down toward the mat as well. Aiming to feel our whole back pressing into our mats. As we breathe, our bellies press into our thighs. Our shoulders move in toward the earth. And then we'll release those feet, reaching both feet and hands up to the sky. We can wiggle the fingers and the toes, move around in the ankles and the wrists for Krakalasana. Give ourselves that little wiggle here. And then reaching on the inhale Exhaling, we slowly, slowly, slowly lower them down to the mat. Hands come up above our head. Feet and legs extend out below our hips. Slowly lowering. When we get to our mat, we make ourselves as long as we can, reaching the hands, lengthening the legs, and then one big exhale. Everything releases and relaxes. We can close our eyes. Soften in our jaw. And we allow ourselves these next few minutes to be still. Begin to deepen our breath. Wiggle our fingers and our toes. Bring gentle movement into our body. Coming back into our space. We give ourselves what we need right now, whether it be a wiggle or a twist. And then when it is time, we'll bring the knees into our chest. We'll roll over onto our side. And we'll help ourselves up to seated. Bring our hands together at our hearts. We'll take a moment to give ourselves thanks for all of the gifts that we just gave us. And I thank you so much for joining me, for allowing me to help you through your practice, for sharing your time and your dedication. I wish you all a very, very happy, fantastic day. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.